What's up guys, Chris Elkins from MaX-Hype. Thank you for downloading the shoulders and arms MaX-Hype free workout. If you enjoy this, then make sure to download the full version, MaXHypeTraining.com. Let's go.
Alright guys, so the first exercise of the day is going to be the overhead press. We do this when your delts are still fresh early on in the workout. This is one of our primary compound lifts that we utilize in MaX-Hype training, and we also utilize a weekly undulating periodization scheme so that you don't hit any strength plateaus and continue to make progress throughout the whole program. As your overhead press strength increases, you're going to see a tremendous carryover with your bench press. Alright guys, so our second exercise of the day is going to be the Elkins press, more commonly known as the Arnold press. This is a great exercise to target both your anterior deltoid and lateral head of the deltoid, and at the top of the movement your upper traps are going to get some stimulation as well. Throughout the movement your delts are getting hit at various angles and you're going to get a great pump by the end of these working sets. So after performing those compound lifts, our third exercise is going to be a superset, and we're finally going to get into some isolation work. This rear delt swing is a great movement to isolate the rear delt because gravity is working against you and it's forcing your shoulder blades to be in a protracted position. This limits your scapular muscles such as the rhomboids and mid-traps to do any of the work and really isolates the rear delt to a high degree. After performing multiple reps of the rear delt swing and being fatigued, you can get into a rear delt row while you're still prone on the incline bench. Unlike the swing, this rear delt row is going to involve your rhomboids and mid-traps, but it's going to create a much longer time under tension period for the rear delt, and you're going to get a sick pump not only in your rear delt but also your upper back. So our fourth exercise of the day is going to be the dumbbell lateral raise. As you can see here, Chris isn't abducting his arm above 75 degrees. He's really staying below 90 degrees, and that's maximizing tension on his lateral delt and limiting how much work that upper trap is doing. The upper trap upwardly rotates the scapula, but if you want to maximize tension on the lateral delt, you don't need to go all the way up. The next exercise is the upright row. This dumbbell upright row may not be too popular, but I guarantee you it's one of the best exercises to overload the lateral head of the deltoid, as you can use a lot more weight compared to actually doing lateral raises. I highly suggest that you perform this upright row slightly outside of your body and kind of experiment with which angle you feel the most amount of tension on that lateral head. So after hitting 6 different exercises for shoulders, it's finally time to start hitting our arms. The first exercise superset that we're going to do is going to train both the triceps and the biceps in their fully shortened position. This dumbbell kickback gets your long head of the tricep as short as possible because your shoulder joint is extended. A lot of people think that the triceps only perform elbow extension, but they forget that the long head of the tricep also performs shoulder extension. This is going to really allow you to get a peak contraction of the triceps. Right after performing tricep kickbacks, you're going to get right into your spider curl. Same thing goes for this exercise, as now it's going to train your biceps in their fully shortened position. The long head of the biceps does flex the shoulder joint, so by performing this exercise with your shoulder in a flexed position, you're going to maximize the peak contraction of the bicep, and this is going to get your long head as short as possible. Our next superset for arms is really going to train both muscles in their mid-range, and it's going to allow you to use a lot of weight and really overload both your biceps and your triceps. For the standing bicep curl, you can utilize either an easy bar or dumbbells. I personally prefer dumbbells as your Elbows, wrists, and shoulders aren't going to be in a fixed position, and over time this can decrease the likelihood of developing any sort of elbow tendonitis or different elbow pathologies. Because your shoulder joint is at 0 degrees when performing the standing curl, you can utilize a lot of weight, and this exercise is primarily focused on overload. So make sure you're going as heavy as you can while keeping form as tight as you can. This exercise is then supersetted with skull crushers. So if you're using dumbbells for the bicep curls, you likely should just use dumbbells for the skull crushers. If you're using the easy bar for the bicep curls, you might as well just use the easy bar for the skull crusher as well. This is a great exercise to overload the triceps, and it's going to hit both the lateral, medial, and long head of the triceps. Just for demonstration purposes, Chris is performing the standing curl with dumbbells here as well, and then supersetting that with dumbbell skull crushers. Again guys, you can experiment with both variations and see what's most comfortable for you. Whichever variation you do choose, make sure you stick to it for at least 6 weeks so you can make progress in the strength department on both of these exercises. And for our final superset of the day, guys, we're going to utilize 2 exercises that now train our biceps and our triceps in their lengthened and stretched position. So starting with this cable curl, we have our shoulder in an extended position, as this is going to lengthen the long head of our bicep and get a full stretch on that bicep. This exercise actually puts the long head in a weaker position and forces the short head to do more of the work, and actually can cause more muscle damage on the long head of the bicep, which is a very important part to growth. This exercise is then supersetted with an overhead tricep extension. Again, this shoulder position is going to be in a flexed position, and that's really going to lengthen the long head of the tricep. That's going to force the medial and lateral head of your tricep to do more of the work. However, during the negative or the eccentric portion of that rep, it's going to cause a bit more damage on the long head of the tricep. So our final exercise for the day, guys, is going to be hammer curls. This is a great exercise to target both the brachioradialis and the brachialis muscles. With this exercise, we utilize a technique called run the rack. It's basically a super drop set where you're performing as many reps as possible with heavy weight to start and then decreasing your weight each set. By the time you're done with this, you're going to have a nasty pump. And as you can see from this one sample workout of MaX-Hype, we do make sure we hit each muscle from every possible angle, and we also try to stimulate hypertrophy through every mechanism possible. 3 mechanisms that basically stimulate hypertrophy is going to be 1, mechanical tension, 2, metabolic stress, a very common example of that is lactic acid accumulation, and 3 is cell swelling, which is more commonly known as the pump. If you give this workout a shot, I guarantee you're going to have the nastiest pump of your life. And that's basically what MaX-Hype training is always about. The feedback has been absolutely incredible, and the progress that our trainees have made using MaX-Hype has been really, really amazing to see.
Shake it, shake it, shake it.